welcome back to my YouTube channel, Baking for Business. I'm Jojo Lydiah, director and cake artist, Little Hands Bakehouse, located in Nakuru, we're in Kenya. And on this channel, we're going to talk about cake business, entrepreneurship. We'll be having story time, we'll be sharing tips and hacks, and we'll be answering to the many questions that we receive them in our DMs. If this is for you, please subscribe to the channel for more of our videos. And on the comments below, please feel free to ask any of your cake related questions, and I'll try to answer them for you to the best of my knowledge. And on this video today, we're going to talk about mistakes to avoid when starting your home baking business. We've seen so many bakers getting into the industry. This is something good. The business is very dynamic, and the market is, we can't say it's flooded, we can't say it's congested. It's just that we are getting new and upcoming intended bakers. And when you want to be into the market, there's some mistakes that we also did when we were beginning, and these are the mistakes we're going to talk about of when you're supposed to avoid it and how you're supposed to avoid it. So mistakes number one to avoid: avoid practicing on a client cakes. Yeah, these are mistakes we started, we are victims, and we're just trying to help you on how not to go about it. When you receive an order that you cannot handle, when you're a new baker, you tend to get your recipes from all over, from the YouTube, from the Google, from your friends. When you receive such a recipe, the advice you're going to give: sit down, work on the recipe, bake that cake, let it cool, sit to eat, dig in that cake, eat, and understand what the cake is. We have foolproof recipes, yes, but the ovens are very different in regards to the location. There are some places which are very cold and all that. All these things are affected by the ovens. Different kinds of the ovens operates very differently. So the advice is work on this cake on yourself. Then try to troubleshoot, try to get observation of how these cakes turn out to be. That's why you find you're working on a cake order that you've received, you've never tried that cake, and the feedback that you receive, the cake is too sugary, the cake is too dry, and you can't even defend yourself because you don't even know if even the cake is dry or even it's too sugary. So don't practice on a client's cake, be it a recipe, be it a new design. If you like, just bake that cake, and you can even decorate it before you can even think of giving a client that cake. I know it's very difficult, but we've learned it the hard way. Mistake number two: do not sell yourself short. Not because you're starting, it means you don't know what you're doing. We have bakers who are starting and they have very nice trainings in everything. They've been trained very well in areas that they need in baking, in decor, but simply because you're starting, you're scared of even charging the cakes. But you're supposed to know your self-worth. You're supposed to believe in yourself. So because you're starting, don't feel and don't think the cakes are supposed to be cheap simply because you're starting. So that is the mistake number two to avoid. Don't sell yourself short. Do not take orders that you cannot handle. Taking orders that you cannot handle in sense that it's a design you've never tried. It's a design you don't even know. Let's say it's a fondant cake. You don't have strength when it comes to working with fondant. Don't be afraid to tell the client no, that you cannot. They understand and they always give you a chance. Like, give me what you can. They'll give you an option. But if a client is so much adamant what they want, they can as well move to the next baker. Don't feel shy to say you cannot, because these are the problems that we get: what you ordered versus what was delivered. It's a starting process. You'll tend to grow as you get more cakes. Something else of don't take a lot that you cannot handle. Also in terms of the number of cakes that you can take. At times you have lots of cakes, but simply because you need money, you just keep on taking the orders. First, in this case, you're working with quantity, but you are going to lose out on the quality. So always learn to say no. The client always respect that, and it's a discipline on your side. You can only take what you can handle. Mistake number 4 to avoid: not marketing your products. You're a starter baker. From nowhere, you just feel that you need to bake. Maybe you have a passion in baking. Maybe you've been inspired by your friends somewhere. Once you start baking, how will someone know that you're baking? Since you're starting, start with your local community. Start with your neighbors. Let your neighbors know that you're baking your cakes. Now, how we used to do it when you're starting, we used to take our cakes to churches, especially my own church. It's just a neighboring here. We took our cakes there for quite some time. We could have the cakes. As much as you're talking about your cakes, at least they've tried your cakes, they've tested them, and they can attest to it. So this is a potential client in the making. Don't sleep with your product. Let people know it's there, but you start local. Start with your neighbors, start with the church. You can start with offices. We took our cakes to offices in town, at least so that they can be able to understand what is it that we're selling. They can be able to test the cakes and all that. And simply because these are problems we get with home baking, we don't have the luxury of selling cakes and cutting them into slices as compared to the storefront bakers in town. In that case, someone can just walk into the store and try your slices, but we don't have that luxury. So just be an open-minded person. Just let people try your cake, and that's the only way you're going to convert this potential client to your household client. Also, in the marketing part of it, after you've worked with the locals, just use social media. Let people know. Everyone now is on the internet. Let people know that you're doing the cakes. Build up a Facebook page for your business. Just create your portfolio slowly by slowly. And on the cakes that you've said you're supposed to try first before selling, these are the cakes that are going to help you even when it comes to creating a portfolio on your page. Just open a Facebook page. You can go to IG. And when you're starting, don't have so many social media pages like all over Twitter and all that. You can just focus on 2. Facebook or IG, whatever is comfortable with you. Let people know out there that you have cakes. At least it's a free marketing as long as you have the time and you have the bundles. Mistake number 5 to avoid: worrying too much about your competition. There's no business that does not have a competition. Even if the business is the newest, competition must be there, and competitions are there. In the cake industry, just by knowing your competition, let's say there's someone you're looking up to. This is your mentor. You don't have to be like them. You don't have to copy them. Just work so much in building yourself other than copying. Don't focus so much on what your competition is doing. These people, you don't know how much time they've been in the industry. You don't know how much they've invested in their work. You don't know what they are doing and what they've done so that they are there where they are. Focus on working on your craft. Focus on building yourself. Focus on marketing your stuff. So competition, to know them is good. Know what your competition is doing is good, but don't focus on them so much. This is the time you need to build yourself. Mistake number 6 to avoid: this is a home baker. You want to start baking, but you're here saying I'm a self-taught. You're here saying I'm a YouTube taught. This is a mistake that newbies are doing. I will just advise, because this is a business just like any other, you need to invest. And in this, we are going to invest in trainings. There's no shortcut to that. There's a lot to learn. And the biggest problem here, I will talk to the newbies, the ones who are in the business also, whoever has not taken a costing class. Please just follow. We have Amari teaching the costing classes. At Little Hands Bakers, we also teach the baking classes, and all the students that we have here, that is our main focus. You focus so much in knowing how to bake, how to decorate, but how will you sell those goods that you don't even know how to sell? So you have a lot to invest when you're coming into the business. Invest in costing classes. I cannot stress this much. Invest in your basic baking classes. Let me tell you, the YouTube recipes, these are foreign recipes. The ingredients which are used there, some are not locally available here. The quantities of the sugar that they have in their cakes, those are not the kind of cakes that we eat here. The sugars out there are so high. So just find, we have so many trainers who are focused into newbies, just beginners. We have so many bakers who are training the baking part of it for beginners. We also have other trainers who are training the beginners when it comes to deco. At Little Hands, we are focused on the master classes. Just do your beginning, then come, let us polish you. This is our main focus. You'll have to invest for you to move. And investing, as any part of the business, I'll not focus so much on the trainings. So don't do the mistake of I'm a self-taught, I'm a YouTube. Just, if you want it to be as a business, just focus on trainings and invest in trainings. You won't be training all the time, but as it is, the business is very dynamic. Let's say as you progresses to your mastering of the business, you find everything changes within a short span of time in terms of designs, in terms of techniques. So you will keep on doing the trainings. But the ones that you're doing when you're starting, that is your fundamental part of it. It never changes. So you just keep on increasing and making yourself better. So mistake to avoid the self-taught part of it, avoid the YouTube part of it, just invest more. Mistake number 7, to avoid taking any cake order without a deposit. Avoid baking without a deposit, simply because we are home bakers. They just feel you'll just find us in the house and you'll bake and think about taking the cake whenever you like. There's no commitment when an order is given and there's no deposit. What if the client says they don't want the cake? And the obvious reason you always get, we received a cake from a friend. What will happen to that cake? But there's no point and there's no any given opportunity that will bring itself up to the point that the client has already paid for the cake and they don't want. No one wants to lose their money. So you should not invest your time. Don't waste your time even into baking when you don't have the deposit. There's no commitment. So that's a mistake to avoid. And as you're progressing, once you have that culture when you start, it just becomes a norm to your business and the clients will adhere to that. The final mistake, and mistake number 8 to avoid, not keeping tabs of your expenses. You've decided you're doing a business. So you only focus on receiving the money, but you don't know where the money is going. We have expenses. All these cakes you're baking, we need to buy ingredients, we need to buy everything. So try work on expenses. You have to retrieve, you have to track your expenses for you to know if you're in business at the end of it all. And in that case, we're going to talk about the documents that you need to help you run the business. And in this case, when you're tracking your expenses, we are talking about a petty cash. Just buy a petty cash. The leaf is just 25 shillings and it has like 25 leaves. Anything you're buying, just note it down, because it's easier for you to have a record of what you've received. Because you have M-Pesa, you can always go and see how much the client has paid. But from your head, there's no way you can able to track what you bought from 1st of the month to 30th of the month. To have the help in this, you can only do this through a petty cash. And with these mistakes to avoid, we wish you good luck and best of luck in joining to the industry. When we were starting, we didn't have this kind of resources, so take advantage, learn, and learn. Looking forward to more of the videos. Please subscribe to the channel and keep asking all the baking related questions in our comment, and I'll try to answer them for you to the best of my knowledge. See you in the next video. Bye.